You're watching ATN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do our review for Arrow. And this, to me, in my opinion, the best episode of the season. A really, really good episode. Shit really has hit the fan on Team Queen. And Rhas has really put the full court press on Oliver in terms of taking over the reins of being Ra's al Ghul. And Captain Lance is on a mission. You know, it's funny. A lot of the things leading up to this, you know, there have been some good episodes. There have been some episodes that were but this episode right here, I mean, really, really kind of puts you in a position where you're like, now what? The whole city knows who he is. The whole city. And you know something, even though, and I'm going to jump right to the end because Roy made a very, very bold move. A very bold move. And I'm just not 100% sure that it's going to go. You know, like, I don't see Captain Lance buying it because Ra's al Ghul is the one who told Captain about Oliver Queen. And when you put all the pieces together, it just makes too much sense that anybody else showing up as Oliver Queen, or rather the Arrow, just not 100% convincing. So I'm not sure if that's going to fly the following episode. You know, the flashbacks were really good as well. Obviously, we saw that Shadow had a twin sister named May, and Oliver was able to obviously use her as not use her, but go to her for safety and then finally deliver the news about her family. Something I'm sure that Shadow and her father, their father, I should say, would want him to do. So now she knows that's a closed chapter in terms of that family. But it was kind of funny how he said the line that he said, wow, you know, the truth is something around, I can't remember the line word for word, but she had said it back then, and that's kind of what he was paraphrasing. You know, and it's funny, here we have the whole little love triangle with Felicity, Ray, and Oliver. More for Ray and Felicity right now. And I was a little surprised that she didn't tell him that she loved him too. Obviously, he was taken back. And, you know, for a minute there, I was afraid... I was afraid they were going to pull an Iron Man. Like, he's got this clot, so some crazy device he has to wear that's part of his suit will keep the clot from killing him. But he uses nanotechnology to get rid of it. And I think Ray's going to play a big part in getting Oliver free. I really don't think what Roy did is gonna work. I really don't, because we've seen that before. The Captain Lance has seen that before in terms of somebody, you know, portraying themselves as the Arrow. Now, back then, nobody knew it was John Diggle. Obviously, Roy is trying to take the fall, and it looks like going to come to attractions that it works to an extent. I just don't think it's going to fly the whole way. I really don't. You know, and the funny thing is we saw briefly Malcolm watching the news, Malcolm Merlin, and I'm wondering how is he going to fit into all this? I guess maybe he shouldn't. He should probably be very happy that everything's going the way it is because it has nothing to do with him. And boy, I mean, Maceo, that I understand the rules of the league. I understand that it's that commitment, that dedication to their way of doing things. But we've seen stragglers. You know, Sarah was a straggler of the league. Even Nessa right now is a straggler of the league. I'm surprised, considering what Maceo and Oliver have been through. And even he straggled a little bit when Oliver was potentially killed when he fought Rouse the first time. He still saved Oliver. So I'm kind of wondering what's his play now? Like, what is he doing? And I know you can argue, well, he's part of the league. That's what they do. Right, I understand that. But I just don't get, like, why jump the fence so many times? Either you stay on one side, you stay on the other. Don't keep jumping the fence. It's just, I don't know. So I'm wondering if that's going to be a bigger play sometime down the road, or if maybe something in the flashbacks happened between Oliver and Maceo that we don't know yet, which will give us a better understanding as to why suddenly he's against Oliver again, or maybe he just wants Oliver to take over the league. Maybe he's just about that happening as Rhas is. So I don't know. Very interesting development there as well. But I really thought it was a good episode. It was a lot of good action right from the jump street, and that I liked a lot. I mean, it was pretty much action from beginning to end, and good story development, and really, really, I mean, we went from almost some sort of calm to like now it's really a lot of pressure on the team. There's a lot of pressure on Oliver. There's a lot of pressure on Felicity, John, Roy, even Thea. Thea's assets are frozen, and there's a lot going on. And my thing right now is the most perplexing thing is how are they going to get out of this? Even if they get out of it, how are they going to convince a whole city that Oliver Queen is not the Arrow? And that's what made this episode so good, is they set up a lot of questions, a lot of compelling questions, and a lot of events happen that make you wonder or make you even think there's no way they could ever get out of this. So I really did like the episode for that. I liked the episode because it was good action, good story development. We've seen Oliver now put in a position he's never been put in before, which is not only being accused of the Arrow, and we've seen that before, but now actually the whole city knows he's the Arrow. He's basically turned himself in, so that's just as much as an admission as anything else. And now Roy tries to throw a trump card. We'll see if that works. It seems to work, but the interesting thing to me is that I'm wondering whether or not at some point he takes Rhas's deal, because if you guys watch The Flash, which I know many of you do, we all know that coming attraction where they show Flash, Arrow, Reverse Flash, and we see Arrow dressed up in what looks like a League outfit. So very, very interesting. Now that could be a different time period, depending. That'd be kind of twisted, where if Flash traveled through time again, and in that time period, Arrow actually took the deal to be Rhas, but he's still good. Like, he's trying to use the League of Assassins for good. So, but yeah, very, very solid episode. Laurel, it's funny when I know I've been hating on Laurel a lot this season. I'm going to assume that she's been getting training from Nyssa, and that when they had that scene where they were on the roof and they're all fighting League of Assassins members, that she kind of learned some stuff, because she was kicking ass, and realistically, she should not be able to stand toe-to-toe with a League of Assassins. So, I'm assuming she's gotten some pretty decent training from Nyssa to be able to hold her own at this point. But that was kind of in the background. And, that's another thing, too. Speaking of Laurel, that presents a very good conflict for her and her father, which we saw play out in this episode. But he's so blinded right now by, Sarah and how she died and how it was kept from him, that I don't really think he's thinking straight. Because let's think about it. If you're in his position, you've been working with the Arrow for so long. You've seen him. You've known this person since he started. How do you go from doing all the things he did to just becoming a killer? It doesn't make sense. And if you're a good detective, you're going to sit back and think, wait a minute, it smells like a bat, it looks like a bat, but I'm using bat just to be funny because Arrow, Batman. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that if he's a good investigator, which he should be, being a captain, he should be able to take a step back, look at the situation, and take it into different perspective based on what he knows of the Arrow. And he hasn't done that. He's completely jumped to guilt, or blame, I should say. And right now, for Oliver, there is no innocence or proven guilty, unfortunately. So I'm really looking forward to the next coming episodes, how this is going to play out. Captain Lance is on a rage again. Rhas Al Ghul is in a very, very powerful position. Maceo is a wild card right now. He really is to me. He's a wild card. And we'll see how this whole Roy thing plays out. I thought it was very brave of him to do that. I like that they kind of put him in the forefront for once, because we haven't seen that in a while. And we'll see if his plan works. I personally don't think it will. I think Captain Lance is going to take a step back and say, look, kid, nice try. I know you're the guy in the red suit, so no. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, what do you think about the episode? I thought it was the best episode of the season so far. I really enjoyed it. Had a lot of good elements about the show. The flashbacks were solid. The action sequences were solid. I feel the story got propelled to a whole nother level, and I'm looking forward to see how this is going to play out the rest of the season. This is Rob signing off for ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching ETN. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Join the nation's Facebook page to meet other subscribers or visit ETN's Facebook page and Twitter page. Links for all are in the description. You're watching ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do our review for Arrow. And this, to me, in my opinion, the best episode of the season. A really, really good episode. Shit really has hit the fan on Team Queen. And Rhas has really put the full court press on Oliver in terms of taking over the reins of being Rhas Al Ghul. And Captain Lance is on a mission. It's funny. A lot of the things leading up to this, there have been some good episodes. There have been some episodes that were But this episode right here, really, really kind of puts you in a position where you're like, now what? The whole city knows who he is. The whole city. And something, even though, and I'm going to jump right to the end because Roy made a very, very bold move. A very bold move. And I'm just not 100% sure that it's going to go. I don't see Captain Lance buying it because Rhas Al Ghul is the one who told Captain about Oliver Queen. And when you put all the pieces together, it just makes too much sense that anybody else showing up